when Vidya asked us or Swaminiji asked us to sing, this is one after the other. So sometimes everybody was pronouncing and chanting. So this made me really a little weird following the teaching. So maybe someone should explain, when we have the numbers in front, one after the other is doing the chanting, not all together. So that
I think
will be understood.
it was decided that we say our number and then do it. So the next one knows who follows. If it is okay with Swaminiji to do it like that.
Everything is okay, not a problem. Okay, yeah. So whatever you think is worth it and it's easy for you, you can do that. And this is. And sometimes people get excited. It's wonderful. Let sometimes people talk. It's okay. So we will make sure that people can say the numbers. We can suggest it so that people can say the numbers. Okay. And you can please number yourself. Kate, Shambhavi, and Swami Shiva Shankari ji. Very nice to see you. So if you can please number yourself. What is left? I don't know. Bhargavi also. Amala, Bhargavi. So when from 25 we are going straight to 32. So there is still some spaces left. So please, 26 is taken. Pushpa also. Please renumber yourself. And then I'm happy to see people back, because after yesterday I was convinced that no one will come back. Myself and Vidyaji and myself will have a nice tete-a-tete, I thought. So welcome back. I'm very happy to see everybody. And don't worry if things are not clear. Don't worry about that, because that is why we have what is called abhyasa, repetition. And so the same thing will come from various angles and it will become very, very clear. And until it is clear, we will not go forward. At least you should get the hang of it. And if not get the hang of it fully, you should know that you will get the hang of it later. Until then, we will not move. And also, if something is not clear, ask, and say, this is not clear, I need more help here, etc., etc. So you can please ask. So that will that will help a lot. Then that is why we have Vidyaji. Vidyaji is going to make everything all right today, and she's going to go over the rules. She is going to go over the whatever we studied with practical applications with regard to specific dhatus, etc., etc., and explain all the nuances. And she will also lead the prayer today. And so that way, hearing the same thing from different ways, and you will see immediately that her approach and mine very different, but at the same time it just hones in on the understanding is the same. The place where we are going and the place where to reach is the same. So then I'm going to hand it over to Vidyaji, and then I will be in the class. I'm not going anywhere, and unless you want me to say something, I will be quiet and I'll be with all of you, and keep cheering as you go through the first conjugation. Okay? Yeah. So welcome, Vidyaji. You want to say anything before we start, or you will lead the prayer? So before that, did you want to say anything? Muted.
You are muted.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to locate the prayers.
Somebody put it up. Yeah. So somebody put it up. Introductory
one-
prayers, somebody please share. Yeah, perfect, done.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay. And as Swaminiji said, if you are able to keep the sequence, for that you need to have the chat window, not the chat window, participant window open for you to know which who is speaking. So if you keep the participant window open, you can even make it into a small size, pop it out and push it to a corner of the window. And there you will see who is talking. That microphone will be opened. So you can use those tools if needed. Otherwise, we will go as somebody had suggested. You can call out the number and then repeat, go in that sequence. If I am able to, I will call out the number 1, 2, 3, but if you do it yourselves, that is better. I will try to, we will see how this is going to flow. Okay, true. So you may not be able to see who is talking. So I will try to do the number. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So for the first shloka, we will need 1, 2, 3, 4. So please be ready. So I will then, when I go to the second shloka, I will look for the 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So maybe we'll try that for today. And thank you, Swaminiji, for it is Swaminiji is giving me the opportunity to teach, that is to be part of this program, which I'm very grateful for. It doesn't automatically make me any Pandita or anything. It is a blessing to be part of this program.
It
Okay.
doesn't make you a Pandita because you're already a Pandita.
Okay, Swaminiji, I will not protest at all. Everything is anugraha. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 in that order. Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum
Shuklambaradharam Vishnum
Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam
Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam
Prasannavadanam Dhyayet
Prasanna Jayet
Sarva Vignopashantaye.
Sarva Vignobashantaye.
Now we will do 5, 6, 7, and 8. If there is, I see 5, I don't see 6, I see 7 and 8. So if there is no 6, then it would be 5, 7, 8, and 9. Saraswati Namastubhyam
Saraswati Namastubhyam.
Varade Kamarupini
Varade Kamarupini
Vidyarambham Karishyami
Vidyarambham Karishyami
Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada.
Siddhir me sada.
Okay, so we ended with 9. We will do 10, 11, 12, and 13. I see 10 and 11. Hopefully 12 and 13 are there. If not, 13 and 14. Yenakshara samamnayam
Enaksharasamanayam
adhigamya maheshwarat
Adhigamya
Okay, so Adhigamya Maheshwarat was 11. So now 12. Kritsnam Vyakaranam Proktam.
Krishnam Vyakaranam Proktam
13. Tasmai Paninaye Namaha. 16.
Tasmai Paninaye Namaha.
Oh, okay, 14 was missed. So we will start now with 14. Om Sahana Vavatu.
Om Sahana Vavatu
15. Sahanau Bhunaktu.
Sahanau Bhunaktu.
16 was done. 17, 18, 19, whoever is there. Sahaviryam Karavavahai. 19.
Sahaviryam Karavavahai.
20 or beyond. Tejas Vinavadhitamastu.
Tejasvinavadhitamastu.
Okay, that was 23. Ma Vidvishavahai.
Ma Vidvishavai
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. 21.
Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti
Astu Samichinam. Anybody wants to say anything before we start? Okay, so we will quickly go the material that we did yesterday. We had a wonderful introduction to how the Sanskrita bhasha works. In the world of English, you have different terms. You have nouns, you have verbs, you have adverbs, you have pronouns, you have adjectives, you have different terms that are used to define a word. But then in Sanskritam, there are only two words that identify that all words are classified into just two categories. One, either it is a verb, or two, it is a noun. So it is a verb or a noun in Sanskritam. Then within the noun, we will look at various, all those adjectives and adverbs would all come as part within the noun world. And in the world of verbs, there is really no ambiguity. It is a very predefined set of, well, it's not a predefined set, but the way in which the words can feature as a noun is very fixed. So if it is not a verb, if it is not a verb, that verb is very fixed. If it is not a verb, then it is a noun, and it can be. Okay, I am, let me get settled a little, kshamyatam for that. Okay, so the verb world and the noun world. The verb world is very predictable. Noun world is also very predictable, but only after you become familiar with it, you will realize, oh yes, it is predictable. So in the world of verbs, Swamini ji had shown us the pratyayas, the endings, the I like to refer to that pratyaya as something that causes a change. And if you understand the terminology, when we use English words, they are very familiar to us because we use it in our day-to-day lives. And when we use words like adjective and adverb, they are familiar because we've been using it for a long time. So now we are getting introduced to something, and you will realize that the same concept will apply here too. It is just a matter of one, recognizing the word, understanding what the meaning of the word is, and then you will realize that it gets used in other places. As we saw in today's class, the word vivekaha, we know that vivekaha ultimately means vastu, Kshamyatam, I can't recall that definition, but you know that ultimately it is our discrimination of that which is real and not that which is not real. But at a more elementary sense of that meaning, vivekaha means awareness of that distinction of that word. So if I say this is a cup,
it's nitya nitya vastu vivekaha.
Sadhu, yes. Nitya, anitya, vastu vivekaha. Samichinam. Distinction between that which is nityam and that which is anityam. So now the knowledge that this is a cup and this is a tumbler, that knowledge is also vivekaha. But in this sense, in this very small context. So the distinction, even when we say, when you look at me, you don't refer to me as Raja Ramaha, because you have the vivekaha that I am Vidya and Raja Ramaha is a different person. So in all this kind of distinction itself is contributes to what we refer to as vivekaha. So like that, the words we are going to use in Vyakaranam, in grammar, in learning this language, if you start using it in if you understand what it is, then you will be able to use it in your daily life also. And the best introduction I can give is this pratyayaha. We saw that suppa and ting, those were the pratyayas. And I like to refer to that pratyayaha means that which is causing the change. So this morning I had coffee. So how did that coffee happen? In that water, hot water, I added the pratyayaha of coffee powder. So that coffee powder is the pratyayaha, which when added to that water gave me the coffee decoction. Some of you had, and then this coffee decoction is my pratyayaha, which I added to the base of milk, and that gave me my coffee. So your tea bag is your pratyayaha. You add chocolate syrup to your drink, that chocolate syrup is a pratyayaha. So a pratyayaha is that which causes a change. So Panini has given.
Excuse me, how do you write pratyayaha?
I will write. Okay.
Yeah.
I will write those words, but first thing I would like you to do, I would like all of you to pay attention to, is how you hear it. When you are able to hear the word, and then you can, I'm repeating the words over and over again, and that will help you to, I'm repeating that word. I'm also going to share my screen and I will write. So I like to use my paint window, and on the paint window, I'm going to, Swamini ji has typed the word pratyayaha there. So I'm going to share my screen and share the paint window so you can see pratyayaha. You can also look at the writing a little bit right now. So the word pratyayaha is made up of, we can, if you go to a since we did the honey bee and madhu extraction this morning, I was thinking of talk that goes around wine tasting. So when you do wine tasting, you take the time and then you swirl the wine in the cup, in the glass, and then you have to bring the wine glass to your nostril, and then you smell, you let it settle down, and people are able to identify, flowers and fragrances that were part of the grape that went into making that wine. That kind of attention that they have. Similarly, if you pay that kind of attention to the words, you will know every sound that makes up that word. So the word pratyayah is made up of p, r, a becoming pra, t, y, a, tya, y, aha. This is pratyayah. Roman script would be okay. So that is pratyayah. I normally do capital H for the visargaha, but H with a dot underneath is fine. So then this becomes pra, and then this becomes tya, and then this becomes yaha. And so you have the final word as pra, tya, yaha. Pratyayah is the word, is that which causes the change. So we had two sets of pratyayas. We had the ting pratyayas, and then we had the sup pratyayas. And the ting pratyayas are result in the world of verbs. So kriya padam, kriya padam, verb. And the sup results in the world of nouns, which is namapadam. While there is an easy word to say for verbs, we don't have an easy way to say namapadam does not just mean name, it is any noun. Okay, so you have ting ending words and the sup ending words. And then this thing also, this thing we have, this is what we had seen yesterday. I'm locating I'm there. Okay, so thing, there are 18 pratyayas. Sadhu, there are 18 pratyayas which cause a change. And of those 18, we have seen the first 9 pratyayas. So the first 9 pratyayas yield our verbs, which we called as parasmai, so this yielded the parasmai padi kriya padam. It gave us the verb which was in the parasmai padi template, and then we have another, the latter 9 giving us the atmane padi. This is the one which Swamini ji said, for oneself and for others, which may have had relevance once upon a time, but it doesn't have that relevance anymore. So Atmanepadi Kriyapadani. Okay, and what we had seen yesterday was a bunch of this. We worked on this Parasmepadi Padi Kriyapadani. Now, in the world of verb, only those 18 pratyayas work. So the attributes of the verb, if you have a verb,
I have a question,
yes.
Vidyaji. So why did you call Parasmai Padikriya Padam, whereas you put down Padani at Atmanipad?
That was because I was not paying attention. Padam is one ekavachanam and Padani is bahuvachanam.
Okay.
Thank you for the attention. I will fix that. One is singular and I put the other in plural. Okay.
May I have a question also?
Yeah.
So the first 9 are verbs are when I in relation to others.
Yes.
And the second 9 are in relation to myself.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So now this, when you look at a verb, as Swamini ji said yesterday, when you have the word pathati, then you know that it is a third person who is doing the action. And it also has the count and it has the tense. We are in the present tense. So when we look at that Parasmaipadi, we had ti, taha, anti, si, thaha, tha, mi, vaha, maha. Swamini ji, was it avaha, amaha that we, or just vaha, maha?
It is just vaha maha, but then we have to add an a.
Right.
That was one of the rules. Yeah.
So
Before, before
so
terminations between that begin with ma or va.
So this, as Swamini ji just said, for the vaha, we have to add an a, we will add a plus a, and for the maha, we will add a plus a. And these are not the original pratyayas. These are just the pratyaya, but in a presentable form. If you, if I were to take the tea analogy, the tea leaves as they are growing in the plantation, from that to what is inside a tea bag or what is inside it. I won't talk about tea bag because using a tea bag causes a lot of pollutants in the water. So I will not use the word tea bags. I will just use the tea leaves. So what you have in the tea leaves is different. There is a process that has gone on to bring the leaves from the plantation to the jar in your kitchen shelf. So like that, we have modified whatever was in the original pratyaya that Panini gave to what we are going to apply in our verbs now. So this ti, taha, anti is not the original pratyaya. That original pratyaya Swamini ji had shared with us yesterday. It is in the, I'm going to share my PDF.
Excuse me.
I have another question.
Yeah, me too.
Vidyaji.
Yeah.
I have another question. So in the first person singular, also you add a, right? Because it is the ma is there.
So let me come to that in a second.
Okay.
Sure. So this is the original pratyaya. So what you see here is the tea plantation tea. Sadhu, tip tas jhi, sip thas tha, mip vas mas. This is the original plantation. This is what Panini gave as a whole. There is one sutra which has no break in between. All of the 18 pratyayas combined together with sandhi done and whatnot as one stream. So that is the original tea plantation, tea. But what we are in a usable format, it has been converted to what has been put here in the in what I have shared right now. And from this, we get to the individual verbs. And yes, so let us go back. I didn't put the army. You are correct. Is that what was your reference?
Yes.
Somebody had, okay, yes, you are correct. So I didn't put that army, but there is another aspect that we need to address. So let me get back to my paint. So I should have put an A here also. Very nice. Okay, but then if I'm going, this Atmanepadi is for later. Sadhu, we are not looking at that right now. So we are now continuing in this Parasmaipadi flow.
I don't know about the others, but I can't see the paint.
One second, my input thing went berserk. I have to fix that. I'll share my screen again. Ekakshanam. Sorry about that. Share screen. I'll just share the screen so you know where I'm going. Okay, so I was working on the paint. Now you are able to see the paint, I'm hoping. So from, we are starting with the dhatuhu pat. So if you are starting with this pat, if you add pat to the ti, you will only have pat ti. But then what happens is that the pat gets another component added, and then it has the ti coming in. So this is an a that we are going to add. So this a is going to be added to all of this. So we are going to have a plus what is here. And we are going to add whatever dhatu we have, we are going to add the pat to the a, and we are going to get that. And that is how you have pa, tha, ti, pa, tha, taha, and pa, than, ti. So what are all the details that this word pathati is giving us? It is telling us that it is third person. So pathati is telling us that it is a third person. In Sanskritam, we say prathama purushaha. In Sanskritam, it is prathama purushaha. And then it is telling us it is ekavachanam, singular. And it is telling us it is in present tense, vartamana kalaha. So all these details are being provided by that one word, pathati. So when you go from pathati to patataha, this ekavachanam becomes ekavachanam, dvivachanam, and bahuvachanam. Then when you go to the next line, the prathama purushaha, the purushaha becomes, I can go down. So when you go across the row, it becomes ekavachanam. So pathati is ekavachanam, Patataha is dvivachanam and patanti is 3 plus, 3 and 3 plus. Then when you go down the, so when you go across, it is vachanam. When you go across, it is the count, and when you go down, it is a change in the purushaha. So we are now going to do pathasi. So first is third person. The second person in Sanskritam is madhyama purushaha. I'm doing 2 dot for brevity. So pathasi, pathatha, patatha. So you're doing pat plus a plus whatever we have in this big matrix there. Then for the third one, it is going to be in English by Western methodology approach. You always do first person, second person, third person. In Sanskritam, we do Prathama Purushaha, Madhyama Purushaha, and Uttama Purushaha. Because why is that? Because the pratyayas are in that order. The pratyayas, as given by Panini, are in the order of Prathama Purushaha, Madhyama Purushaha, and Uttama Purushaha. So when you look at it from the Sanskrita point of view, it is in that order. So first person is Uttama Purushaha. Uttama Purushaha. Okay, so for Madhyam, so the Uttama Purushaha is going to be Pathami, Pathavaha, Pathamaha. Now, this process that we have just done, you can easily repeat for most of the Kriyapadams, most of the dhatus that Swaminiji had given us in that other table. So I'm now going to go to that PDF and we will see. Okay, so here, okay, so if you look at each krish, you just do krish a ti. How does krish become karsh? We need to address. We will look at how that got addressed. Swaminiji had introduced us to the guna and vriddhi earlier. So we'll go back to that in just a minute. But before that, if you look at some of these dhatus, so however they do the processing and they come to this karshati, kridati, khanati. So creed becomes kridati, khan becomes khanati. So those that don't need any additional process, you just add a and a ti, they are creed. You just do kridati. Okay. So here you just do creed, khan, khad, char, chal. I'm going to skip the G and the jeev because it is not just adding an a. Then if you do tyaj, tyajati, well, jeev actually you can do. You just do jeevati, jeevatah, jeevanti. You just have to do the a. So what you can do as a first round process is you yourself can distinguish, looking at this krish to karsh, there is some other additional process happening. Sadhu. So I will go back to my paint. I will go back to the paint and maybe I will take a new paint. So what we will do, is we will look at this krish became karshati, but it is not happening in a straightforward manner. Sadhu, so whatever is not happening in a straightforward manner, I will put it in this column. Then we will look at the next one. We had creed. Creedati is straightforward, like pat. Khanati, straightforward. Khadati, like pat. Charati, like pat. Chalati, like pat. G. Now, G is different from pat. It is not G to Jayati is not like pat to Pathati. Therefore, I will go and add it to my to our was it G or was it G? It was G. So G is Jayati. Then you will realize that once you know the rule, I needn't even have asked, is it G or G? Because if it had been G, the behavior may have been different. So we will go back and look. Jeev. So G, the difference between the G and the Jeev is how it is ending. It is ending in that V. So Jeev is for all practical purposes like pat. So you can just do Jeevati, Jeevatah, Jeevanti. So I will leave it as it is, but just because there is something we need to pay attention to, I will go back and add it here. Okay. Then Tyajati, Dahati, Dravati, Dhavati, Namati, Ni, Nayati. That is behaving differently. Nayati. Ni. Okay. Then Pach, Pachati. Pacha, Pachati, I think. So I will, Swaminiji, could you please comment on that Pacha, even though it is Pach?
I think it's a typo. It should have been Pach.
Okay. All right. So we will do that Pach as Pachati. It is the standard Pat, Patati, Buddh. Now, Buddh is not like Pat. So we will go back and add the Buddh. So what you could do is when you do this kind of analysis, you are becoming more familiar with the verbs. So when you look at a verb, there are few things that you can address. One, just by looking at the form, you can identify what attributes it might carry. Then, of course, you need to know the meaning of that verb before we can use that in any sentence. So, Buddh, bodhati. Okay, then bhu, different. So when you do when you are able to recognize that these differences exist, it will reinforce what is not an exception. So if you go back and look at the bhu, then we have Brahm, Brahmati, Yaj, Raksh, Ruh. Ruh is again an exception. Because when you come into the world of Sanskritam and when you start analyzing these aspects, every aksharam counts. Not every aksharam, every sound matters. Is there a hull? If there is a hull, then you don't pronounce the a. If there is an extra line, you have to pronounce the a. If it is a short, it is one beat long. If it is long, short or long, the meaning might change. Not just the meaning might change, even the process of going from, suppose you did not pay attention to karsh, if you did not pay attention to krish, becoming karsh, you might have gone off saying krishati, krishatah, krishanti, and all of that would be waste, because that ended up being wrong because we did not pay attention to that exception. So paying attention to every sound, every letter is important. Every sound, every aksharam, every swaraha, every vyanjanam, just as you would have seen when Swaminiji explains, when she goes over the bhashyam, she will tell you that Adi Shankara is pouncing on that difference and highlighting why that particular difference exists in the original words. So even the slightest, any change in the letters will cause a change in the meaning, and we might end up, instead of going to let us say New York, we will end up in Timbuktu. So every letter, every mark has a relevance, has an meaning, has a it is there for a reason. Okay.
Vidyaji,
so yeah.
does Buddha have the halantyam, or it is deliberately omitted, the word Buddha?
We will take it as having the hull.
Okay.
So there are certain things which is just, so there is a saying which Swaminiji would have mentioned at some point in time, where especially the grammarians, the Vaiyakaranas, they will not use any sound flippantly. There won't be any sound that is inserted into a word or into a sutram if it did not have a purpose. What meaning, if you removed a particular sound, it will not, the meaning will not be complete. And without adding anything new, the sentence by itself is fully sufficient. It is sufficient and necessary. So the necessary and sufficient is what is included in the sutrams. Similarly, if it is ending in a hull or not ending in a hull, the kr dhatuhu, it comes as dukr. So it has a do in the beginning and then it has a ng in the end, and they all have significance in identifying how that particular verb behaves. So it is a valid question to ask if it is buddh with a hull or without a hull. So we will right now take it as with a hull. Two people, Jyoti, you have a question?
Yes, Amma. Can you please go through how I go from Krish to Karshanti? Because I understood Kridati very well, but how to try to place each form of singular, dual, and plural, Bhutakala?
Okay, very nice. So we have not yet gone to revise that. I am doing the Vivekaha. I am doing the Vivekaha between what is in the Pat template, what is in the Pat straightforward thing, and what might take guna, etc. So we are doing that separation right now. Okay. There's one more person who had a question, who has a raised hand, please.
Thank you, Vidyaji. Just for my own understanding. So all that we have dealt with so far is present tense, right? So there is also a past tense and future tense to all of this.
Remember Swaminiji told us yesterday that there are 10 different tenses and moods in Sanskritam. So there are 3 past tenses, 2 future tenses, one present tense, and then there is 4 moods. So we will, so how it is the same 3 pratyaya, the 18 pratyayas, the thing and the sup. Sup is for nouns. So the same thing, 18 pratyayas will end up participating in all the verbs, giving us all the 10 moods and tenses. So there are other operations that will take place, like how here we added an after the dhatu. So like that, there are different operations that have to be done for us to get to each of those forms. And each of them will have to be, it is also systematic. Each of them will have the same process where you take the dhatuhu, and then you have the rules that govern how you process the forms for that particular tense or mood, and then you apply it to the various verbs. So we will eventually get to the place where randomly out of the 2000 and odd verbs, if somebody says, what is it going to be for what can I think of? Kr, karoti. What is it going to be for kr? Because of familiarity, they will easily be able to tell you which ganaha, which group it belongs to. And then from when you say karoti, is it in present tense? Is it in future tense? Is it one person doing? Is it many people doing? All those details will be, you will easily be able to glean when we have enough exposure and practice. That is how when you read the verse or the bhashyam, you look at that word and then you are able to say that this whole thing is one word. Nitya nitya vastu vivekah, I think is what I was reminded that that phrase was. So when you look at it, you will be able to say nitya nitya vastu vivekah. Then okay, there is no way I can break it into smaller words. That whole thing has to be one word. You will gain the ability, you will gain the vivekah to be able to discern what is a valid word and what is not a valid word. Sadhu? Okay. Sadhu means okay. Yes? So now continuing. So bhu, we did bram, yaj, raksh, ruh, vad. So vad is like vadati, vap, vapati, vas, vasati, vah, vahati, vraj, vrajati, shans. So shansati, I'm going to add it to our list here. Somewhere, I think right now my grouping is okay. Shans. Shansati. And then we have Sri, Sarati, and Smr, Smarati. So those two also, I'm going to go back. And we're already coming close to time. I will hand over to Swamini ji. Sri, Sarati, and Smr, Smarati. So what you can, what we can do, because we are coming up, we are close to end of the class time. So what we can now realize is that these are all exceptions from the standard dhatuhu plus a plus the pratyayah. So I will, in the remaining 5 minutes, I will ask Swaminiji to remind us what we can do as homework. For it might even be just thinking, it might not even be doing any writing or whatever. It would be great if we are able to get all the 3x3s, some of it in writing, some of it in as oral practice, to become familiar with the 3x3 during the course of this week. So we have 20 or so verbs there, more than 20, I think. So other than these, everything is straightforward. And even for these, it is straightforward because they have told us that Krish becomes Karshati. So even for these dhatus, we can do the 3x3. It is only a matter of, as one of you asked, how Krish becomes Karshati. So that is the rule. If we go back here, we had these rules. So this rule is what is governing how each of those verbs become each of those dhatus, the roots become the verb that is given to us. Swaminiji?
Yes.
Could you, now that we have only 3 more minutes, could you please say what we could do for practice? I'm suggesting that they can try to, we've not gone over the how.
Yeah.
If you're able to. Yes.
So in terms of homework, but before that, can I just go over this, because some people were really interested in that Krish to Karsh.
Yes,
so, and medial vowel means whatever vowel is there before the last consonant, that is the thing, you know. So if there is a consonant ending dhatu, medial vowel means anywhere before that, the vowel that comes, you know. Like a very good example is Krish. It is a shakaranta dhatu, and then it is a, so the medial vowel, even though it is pronounced r, it's not a consonant, it's a vowel. So Krish, please go back to that rule. Please go back to that PDF. Yeah, a little further. Guna Vriddhi chart, please. All the way up. Yeah. So then we saw, this is again a technical thing. So we saw how these are the simple vowels, all of them take guna, they have guna or vriddhi equivalents. And so if we just go down this list, r, the guna is ar. So if we have, so kr, then what will it change into? Kar. Please go back. Yeah, so the kr will become kar. Can you please write kar with a halantyam plus ish, shakara, karsh. To which, you know, karsh, and then, you know, to which we add the gana vikarana, means the specific marker, the identifying marker of the first conjugation, which is a. Krish, karsh plus a, please write plus a, plus ti. Right here where you have at the end, you can write karsh plus a plus ti, karshati. Oh yeah, it's already written there. So that is how it becomes. Same thing with sru. You see they are all similar. Krish, sru and smru. Sru becomes sar, sar plus a plus ti, smru, you know, sru to move, and then smru to remember, krish to draw, to pull, and smru to remember. Smru becomes smar, smar plus a plus ti. And that a is removed in the third person plural because the jha has already been converted to ant. There is already an a, and that a is elongated to a in the first what is it called, uttama purusha endings, where which begin with the pratyayas that begin with ma and va. Okay, so that's how we have this smarami, smaravah, smaramah. But smaranti, it's not smaranti. Okay, because there is already an there, so this and since the form is like this, so we have to remove that so here it is minus, as she has written somewhere. Yeah, scroll up a little bit. I can't see, because people need to see that minus. Yeah, so here it is minus and then plus here. So that is the other rule. Short vowel in between vowel takes guna, and long vowel, whether it is, and the final vowel, regardless of whether it is short or long, will take guna. And that, leads us to verbs like, please give that verb list that you have so nicely put. That leads us to, in the paint. Yeah. That leads us to verbs like G, short vowel, but it's a final vowel because there is nothing following it. Ni, long vowel, but both of them, take guna and certain changes will take place. Budh, short medial vowel. Bhu, long final vowel. Ruh, short medial vowel, like this. So there are so short medial vowel will always take guna. Long vowel, the final vowel, regardless of short or long, will take guna. So these rules you can keep in mind. And some people sent me the homework, and then let me give you, you can send the homework here. How many of you have done the homework? Yeah. Okay. So those that haven't done, those that haven't done, those have done, please send. And then those that have done, please do the other next 10 verbs. Just keep writing the table. There is writing practice. There is, that abhyasa. Titah, pathati, pathatah, pathanti, patati, patatah, patatah. Then and also remember the meanings. And then next time we will, have a quiz. And so those that haven't done the homework, the first 10 you please do and send it to me. I will look at it. Okay. And please write in pen. One more thing. Or you can use any of the fonts or whatever they have. Somebody has a question? Who is that? Shivani.
It's me,
Shivani.
Swaminiji. I've written it with pen on paper.
Yeah,
Should I take a photograph
Yeah,
and
take
send
a
it to
photograph and please send it. And
Okay.
then if you can type it, and we will devote one session towards the end to using Sanskrit fonts if people need that. If they find that helpful, because there is a lot of advancements in Sanskrit fonts, etc. So how to use that, we can devote a portion of the session for that. Okay, all right.
That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
So could you, excuse me, Swaminiji, could you please repeat what are the homeworks are? Because I was just writing down.
Yeah. So for you, since you have already done the other homework, you please do the next 10.
Okay.
Yeah, please do that. And please try to remember the meanings. And then next week on Saturday, this is not to make people not show up, but there'll be a small quiz. It can be an open book quiz. Quizzes are fun. You will see next time. Okay, they are a lot of fun. They help us to remember. And then, just as we are feeling wonderful that somebody else also forgot, we will also forget. And so that's a lot of fun. Okay, yeah. So
char and chal both are to move, Swamiji.
Yeah. Charati, chalati, both are to move. And sometimes it changes in the context. Yeah, Shivani, scroll upwards, you will find the email address. It's right there. I have written it. Okay. Yeah, just scroll up where you ask the question. Anything else? Vidyaji, you want to say anything? In conclusion?
Nothing, Swaminiji. So if you please, every day you do a little bit of practice, and if you remain focused on what we have done, as that way you will not be confused by things that you may remember. Allow them to be there in the background, but they will take shape and settle down. Don't allow that to overwhelm you as to how did I get there and I'm not able to comprehend that. So no need for any kind of anxiety. Sanskritam will embrace us, so there's no need for anxiety, and have fun.
And it is vaccinated, so no COVID, it cannot give. Okay, yeah, so we can accept the hug, no problem.
Oh.
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaga Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. All the best. Take it easy. Thank you, Vidyaji, for a very nice overview today. I'm sure a lot of doubts were cleared. Thank you so much for everybody for attending. And the mantra for Sanskrit classes is hang in there. Yeah, that is the thing.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah,
Thank you.
please hang in there. It is coming. It will come. It will just keep coming. All the best.